Sullivan. Hooked us, Terry's friend. He hooked us up with Gus here, who is from Franklin County, right? And is going to talk to us a bit today about ways that we can kind of wrap our minds around this branding, this thing we call branding, and hopefully we'll leave this session with a little bit more answers than we have questions. So, Gus, I'll allow you to take it away.
Great. Well, thank you, everybody.
We're supposed to introduce ourselves. I'm sorry.
I was just going to ask y'all to do that, as a matter of fact.
Okay, good. See, Gus,
I'm going to go through my background and my LinkedIn reading here in a second, but I can get a bearing of who you are and who you represent.
Scotty Egan with Franklin County.
Sure.
Joey Gray, City of Union.
Good to see you in real life, sir.
Dennis Oliver, tourism director here.
Claudia Kleiner, Merrimack Cabins.
Jason Alexander, Budget Lodging.
City of Sullivan, Jason Hardy. Mary Beth Key, Washington Tourism.
Terry Wilson, just around.
Angela Crawford, St. Clair Chamber.
Tim Baker, Pacific Chamber.
Robert McCaskill, Rope and Doing Center, Pacific.
Hills Traveler, Joe Shaker.
Very good, very good. And just for full disclosure, I offered to record this presentation. We're going to have more free-form conversation. There's no handouts, no nothing. If you want to take notes, you're more than welcome to. Then I'm going to send the video link back to y'all. My camera's going to run for an hour, so that's a hard deadline. If we have great conversation after an hour, we're going to lose it. So, it's good to be back home here in Franklin County. I am a son of Franklin County. I guess I was actually born in the hospital in Kirkwood, but my family was here for 3 generations, and I've been in Jefferson City, is where I'm from, for the last 10 years. I do own a company called the Rocket Group. We're a full-service marketing and communications firm based in Jefferson City. As you see, your state capital there in the picture. We started here in Franklin County in Villa Ridge, is where we began back in 2001. Before that, I was a sales and marketing manager for 2 different manufacturing companies, one of which I had to have an office here in Pacific, just down the road. Agave wasn't there when I was there in that plaza. So, who is this guy? I've been in business world for 22 plus years. 13 of the last of those years have been as the owner of the Rocket Group. I did serve you all in the residence of the state of Missouri as the chief of staff in the Missouri State Senate for 8 years. I've been a lifetime community dude, and that devotion to my community began here in Franklin County as a county-wide organization. I did a lot of work in the City of Union, did some work in the city, volunteer work and such over in Washington throughout the years. I've seen both sides of every tree in this county. That's what I'm trying to say, and it's a very important personal touchstone to me to help y'all here in Franklin County. I'm also a 5-time certified social media strategist, which it means I've made the investment in myself, my company, and my customers to stay on top of the ever-changing worlds of social media and tour the Midwest region, basically teaching and training on social media and modern marketing communication tactics. So what are we talking about today? We're going to go through this kind of free-form conversation here. I'm going to ask y'all some questions, try to help you formulate some answers, see if we get some good ideas to raise to the top, and that's going to move you a little further towards, as we talked about a while ago, the structure of an actual marketing plan, putting things on paper. And as you all know, in your businesses and your organizations, when you have a marketing plan, that's probably any kind of plan, that's usually the first thing that gets thrown out when the building catches fire or the first emergency takes place, right? So we're going to try to help you figure out what's going on here, and then maybe we're going to share some ideas of what we see as potential directions and tools to put in place, both now, a little bit in the future, and further down the road in the future. And then I'm going to give you some ballpark budget numbers to help you with your planning as well. So what do you want to do now? What do you want to do? Like I said, we're going to talk about now, 12 months from now, and 60 months from now, down the road, to get this effort a little higher up into the stratosphere, into people's ears, eyes, and wallets. So, what are our overnight attractions here in Franklin County? What are the things that people will come here to stay overnight, put some beds and heads, no matter where it's from. If it's in Washington, Sullivan, Villa Ridge, that's my town. But they would come here, spend the night, and do something for multiple days. What kind of activities? What kind of attractions?
Wineries, canoes, camping, caverns, bird farms, 6 Flags.
Don't tell them that we're going to annex.
And then we have events, Town and
Events.
Country Fair, a lot of other events throughout the county that are more than one day.
The prison. Actually, that does bring people here for beds and heads. You're right.
Right.
Yeah.
Antique shopping and train watching.
Okay. What kind of draws? I mean, the fair obviously is a big draw. What do we know now? Is there anything we can quantify that's a tourist attraction that's putting heads in those beds? Merrimack Caverns.
Freedom Farms.
Okay.
Shaw's.
Shaw's. The different nature events and such.
Our end of the county, I say a lot of camping, or canoeing.
Mhm.
Camping does it with heads and beds.
So they bring their own beds.
Bring the sleeping beds.
Not me.
Yeah, not my husband.
Camp out in the hotel.
Yeah.
That's good.
But they
No,
got cameras out
but
there.
it does supply
Chef cabins.
revenue from the tickets for the speeding and Sullivan.
It's Sullivan?
No, that's perfect. Okay.
So are you all, is there any kind of tracking mechanism maybe within your own entities? Or have you talked about anything as a group of what kind of numbers you have currently that are related to tourism with your overnight stays? Jason, you might be the expert on this.
Yeah, I'm just now installing some program that will track that better. But, yeah, and all the things that were mentioned, we see a lot of people stop in our area so that they can go to cabins the next day on their way through. But as it gets closer to summer, there's a lot of people that stay in Franklin County to kind of branch out and do all these different attractions.
Well,
Shaw.
we're that 50 miles out of St. Louis, so it seems like that's where they want to stop. They're traveling somewhere.
I think in Sullivan, we have a lot of ball tournaments too, softball and baseball. We usually fill our hotels, yeah.
Right.
Say that's the correct answer. Oh, I know of 2 tournaments a year we do that, yeah. And, Union and Washington have some bowling tournaments. You've been doing it for quite a while, what are your?
Well, I,
Say,
of course, the Town and Country Fair, we fill up, everything in Washington and, major surrounding areas for that. But, the other ones we can kind of track through the lodging tax. We see, when numbers are up or down. Now and again, I get, the zip codes from people staying and get numbers that way, but that isn't always the case. But yeah, I think that's my biggest gauge is the bed tax right now, about what our high times and low times are throughout the year.
So at this point in the tourism mission of Franklin County, all our evidence is anecdotal. Okay. We don't know, like you mentioned, Terry, 50 miles out, if they're stopping here and heading on. We don't know if they're stopping here and going to the prison, like JT said. We don't know, even working with our bed and breakfast around the region. Do we know what kind of capacity we have for our hotels? Are we staying, are we at 50% capacity across the county, or 30%, 100%? Our room capacity is, as far as how many are being used?
occupancy percent.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
So we're also probably 60%.
60% would be an outstanding number.
Yeah, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt to places I don't know.
Yeah. In Jefferson
50%,
City,
45 to 50 is probably.
Are you saying all over the county or just for yourself?
I thought he was asking all of the counties.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
I was
No,
making
I was
the,
just wondering what you were.
Yeah.
plus or minus 20%. How's that?
Well, that's a number that you want to try to attain, and whether you do that through surveying all of your hotel and lodging facilities, including your bed and breakfast, including campgrounds, things like that, because you want to see what kind of numbers you've got. If they've got 100 spots and they're only filling 40 all the time, well, they're going to be very interested in activities that you all are going to be investing in to fill those spots up. At Jefferson City, seat of state government, we're very busy, 4.5 months a year. We have a lot of state meetings of different organizations. The hotels have their different conferences and such there. Our year-wide annual rate is somewhere in the mid-40s because it doesn't average out throughout the whole year. It's, right now, well, not today, it's Friday, but earlier this week they were at full capacity. As we get closer to the end of session, it's going to be at 100% capacity in a lot of the hotels. But as soon as May 30th, May 20-something comes around the end of session, those hotelers are going to be struggling to fill those rooms because the traction, our factory in our factory town, Jefferson City, is not going to be running. So we're not going to be bringing those folks in to put their heads in the beds.
Yours is different than ours because yours would be Monday through Thursday type of event, whereas ours is the weekend.
Right. Right. So, we look at numbers we want to capture. We want to look at, what are the attractions, and what are the hotels? What are the people doing? I mean, what are our numbers of actual people that are doing things currently? And if there's any way to extrapolate what those visitors, where they're from, what they did while they were here, how much money they spent, things like that. And you can do all kinds of different studies. Those are very, very expensive to start, calling Johnson family who stayed here 6 months ago, who may or may not remember what they did here while they were here. But those are types of things that are available to do. So the next step is, what are our daytime attractions? What is our driving traffic, our internal customers even? What do the people from Sullivan drive to Washington to do? What do the people from Washington drive to Sullivan to do? I'm just going to pick on you two because you're sitting right here right in front of me. So what do we got going on again across the county that people are doing on a daytime basis? Driving from St. Louis or driving from St. Charles to come out here to do?
It's the same list on this.
Cruise, abundant game tours,
I mean,
Wineries.
wineries, yes.
festivals.
We get a lot of our daytime people coming in on the train, on Amtrak.
Sure.
So you probably get a lot of local traffic for shopping in Washington.
Absolutely.
Well, I think also during the week, we have a lot of business travelers throughout we're blessed with a good industrial base. We have a lot of people from outside our county coming during the week.
Right.
We have a lot of that traffic.
Sure. I was that guy for a big piece of my life. So.
I have people in Franklin County coming to our road park, coming from Robertsville and Union to come visit us within the county. But most of our people come from all over the St. Louis metro area, including the Illinois side of town, to come into Franklin County and see us.
Our recreational activities like golf pictured here, or the boating on the Missouri River, or we mentioned the canoeing or the Merrimack, are those bringing large numbers of people in? People who travel from our metropolitan region to come out and play Wolf Hollow or whatever.
It's out to Bridge Creek, they did.
Yeah, I believe they do as well. So I think these are things that can be marketed to get that daytime visitor out here. Now, once we get them out here, what are they doing? Are they hitting the golf course? Are they hitting the caverns and heading back to St. Charles? Or are they stopping and eating along the way, along the interstate or the highway or the train? What do they eat? Do we know anything like that? Are we getting any residual off of our daytime attractions? Anybody? Anybody have anecdotal evidence? Sure.
I do a survey once a year of people who have asked for our brochures and that type of thing. So it's just I send an email and they can put on the survey.
Sure.
And we always offer a little incentive, a little prize or something, if they, for a person who wins after filling out the survey. So we see that, yes, they are eating here. They are, even if they're not staying overnight, they usually eat in the area and usually shop, spend money. We had the last 2 years, we've had really good reports on how much money was
I see.
Industrial base,
Uh-huh.
Central
The
College.
college here, the college, the plays, performances, concerts, are those bringing any people in from outside the area, do we know?
I would say very few, mostly from Franklin County area.
And is that a late night activity? They go to the Italian restaurant over there in Union, and they go out to see the show at the college? Again, we can attain this information through surveying of our restaurants, our gas stations even, are they getting gas before they head back to St. Charles or St. Louis or Sullivan, Washington, whatever. What else are they doing while they're here on those daytime visits or nighttime visits here in Franklin County?
So how would they differentiate between, like, maybe you have to dumb it down for me a little bit. I don't understand how you would get numbers on what they're doing once they come to an event in Washington or come to a winery, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, how would you know that it's not just somebody driving through?
Well,
So you're
yeah.
saying a gas station could potentially have a survey sitting there and ask people, hey, what are you doing in our town?
You could do that, or you could have a survey person outside the door. Hey, what brought you here to the gas station? I'm a
Okay.
resident. Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Did you come here for the Johnson wedding? Did you come here to play golf at Birch Creek? Did you do things like that?
We also do that at different events. We do that at our home show. We do it there a lot of times.
Sure.
Find out if they're from the area, what their zip code is, if they're staying.
How many times they've been to our area, if they're from outside the area, how many times have you been here in a year, what brought you here?
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Okay.
And even surveying your service businesses, your restaurants, your gas stations, things like that. If you had an event in St. Clair, I'm sorry, give like a railroad days or some sort of community festival.
It's like those railroad days.
Yeah, no, we have a festival in September.
Okay, so you would ask your folks, say, we're going to survey you about this, ask your chamber members, we're going to survey you about this, we want you to start paying attention to what your business flow is like before, during, and after. And there, of course, when there's more people coming in for the festival, they should see a spike when that event's going on.
Right.
That's the first easy step. That's the first baby step to do, is just to justify that spike, identify that spike in business.
Okay.
And then you can go back and say, hey, look at the event, look what we did.
Right.
I think who has the information we need, I don't think there's any way to get it, but credit card companies.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, there's all kinds of ways to get it.
It's very expensive.
But exactly.
Bucks to-
I asked my
bucks to
visitors
cover
how,
the purchaser, debit card, credit card information for.
So can they take like if a card gets swiped in my hotel, tell us what other areas in
They can
Franklin
tell
County?
you, they can tell you who they're in town, they can tell you where they, maybe not where they shopped, but what they bought, fruit. I mean, it's all the way down the back.
Right.
But we'd be interested in knowing, is a person in Budget Lodging also go to the winery and shop at?
I know most of the companies, they
So
track.
they can
they
buy
track
that.
Yeah.
information.
Anything is trackable, especially these days.
It's very expensive, Bucks is very expensive.
Everything's traceable, right? Is this on?
Good thing I paid cash at Ellicott. Nobody knows that.
So you're not going to help the Pacific numbers any. Look at that. What's going on?
I usually ask.
But those are steps, yeah, those are very expensive steps. The first step I'd recommend is, you got events coming up, let's get some surveys in place of your members or your businesses saying, hey, we want to track to see what this impact is, what these ripples are, and then we can go from there, okay? So what's your competition? I don't know if you noticed, I used baseball here as a competition. Obviously, it's probably about the biggest draw in this region is the Cardinals. 81 home games every year, 30,000, 40,000 people coming in from all over the place, whether they're down the street or Indiana, what have you. I don't know, do we see, like the World Series last year, do we see a hotel pickup into Eastern Franklin County from any of that? Was there enough room space?
I think there's enough room space now, but
Yeah.
it didn't bleed over to us.
Uh-huh.
I get a few people. used to be a convention or ball games, all that kind of stuff, was in Franklin County. I mean, nope.
Well, moving a little further west from Busch Stadium, Six Flags is, well, I couldn't throw a rock that far, but just down the road, what kind of bounce do we see out of Six Flags here?
I think that's why our two hotels do as well as they do, because the rest of the year, they're struggling, I think, but in the summertime, yeah, they're bad enough. Probably close to full, do you think, most weekends?
I think it's what they told us, is that if it wasn't for Six Flags, they definitely wouldn't have it.
And do we see any ripple effect out of Six Flags? I mean, are they going, taking up parties or whatever the diners are?
Unfortunately, I think they're hitting the ones in Eureka.
Well,
probably.
I know that the cafe right by El Agave, they have a great relationship with the hotels, and they do see a lot of customers that come from the hotels do that. So, but again, I mean, unfortunately, our town only offers a very limited amount of restaurants. If you really don't know where X Brew House is, you're not gonna go there. Otherwise, you got El Agave or McDonald's or
Right.
The Italian restaurant.
Right, and it's probably a family-oriented visit as well, so maybe the brew house isn't a great fit for that. Does the Six Flags share any information, or publish any information as far as how many are day trippers and how many are overnight visitors? Or
We've never asked.
Yeah,
I would like to say, since the president down there is a local boy also, that we can
Right.
get that information, but nobody's asked.
yeah, I would go knock on that door and get that resource. It's a giant draw. I don't know the numbers of how many people, hundreds of thousands, I'm imagining, come to Six Flags every year, and that's rippling into this part section of the county. Maybe as far west as you guys on Sullivan. I don't know. So they're probably buying gas along the way.
Would the KOA campground in Yogi Bear be a competition for?
To an extent, but they're also it's an attraction. It's a visit. You're talking about the one out east of here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it would be an attraction. It would be a competition. It is in the other county, so it would could be turned to competition. So, any other competitive forces out there? We've got obviously St. Louis, even St. Charles. They have large funded CVV mechanisms in their government and in their organizations that are working daily to attract visitors, attract meetings, attract beds and heads. What about some of the other communities?
Many of the communities just outside of Franklin County compete for the heads and beds. If you haven't been to Green Farms, for example, some over to Franklin County, there's hotels outside of Franklin County that are just as close as the ones in
Sure.
Franklin County. So a lot of that gets split up.
Sure.
Six Flags is obviously just outside of the county. You get a lot of people go to the east side of Six Flags. If they're going to do something in the city on Six Flags, then they're going to stay on the other side.
Right.
Whereas if they're working Six Flags into their floats, caverns, or that kind of thing, then they tend to stay on our side.
I was going to recommend that we run a giant billboard campaign, but somebody bought all the billboards up. So.
I think, Herman and the rest of the wine trail would probably do competition.
Definitely.
And then going the north side of the river on 94.
Sure.
If you go that way or west to Herman, if you want to do multiple wineries, they're all close. Where if you, in Franklin County, there's more spotty.
Sure.
You have to drive more distance.
Right. So which is not ideal when you're at wineries. So.
But when it comes to the lodging, they don't have hotels.
Correct.
So
And
so
we
you
see
still get a lot of people stay in Washington.
We
and go
do. It's like a
come
hub.
back.
Not as much for the Herman area, but definitely for
Yeah,
North.
and to add to that, though, those competitions, which we can consider weaknesses or strengths, as Jason pointed out, staying in Washington, I would say that in our area, in the southern part of the county, where, hunting, fishing, or canoeing, or camping is a strong thing, that if you go further south on the 44, they have the Buzzaw, and still is a huge floating capital of the world. But yet, I think, even though they have to pass through our town on 44 if they're coming from St. Louis to do that, so we have the ability in Pacific and St. Clair and Sullivan to hopefully capture some of those people, not necessarily overnight, but at least from our stores, restaurants. I mean, because I know our Walmart has a lot of people when it's camping season, or hunting season, buying everything.
It's kind of the beauty about tourism, and you touched on this a second, JT. Almost everybody's a customer or potential customer for y'all. I mean, we all it's a very wide and deep pool of water, full of fish for us to catch and attract into Franklin County. Anybody else want to say about competition? Yes.
Well, it's a competition of recognition of Franklin County, because when I've approached, and I'm a paper person, I've approached Shaw and Karina and even Six Flags, and Shaw and Karina, Shaw says go downtown, we're in St. Louis, we're not in Franklin County. Karina, the same deal, large corporation, we're not a big enough market for them to be interested in trying to, and my outreach is outside of the county for the most part, but they've got in their mindset that this is part of St. Louis, even though it's really not. And that's something that we have to, fight them, and what they're doing with their marketing, because they're saying they're in St. Louis, and we're saying, no, you're not, you're out here, you're part of us.
Sure.
And that's as frustrating for the local managers as it is, for the people who are trying to talk to.
Sure. It's, I have a point along that way coming up in the presentations. Did you want to say something?
I consider Franklin County to be part of the St. Louis metropolitan region.
Definitely.
It's a full picture.
Definitely. And almost every way you can call it out, it is part of the St. Louis metropolitan region, all the way out to the western edge.
Even in economic development, they say you better be touting yourself as someone that's a part of the St. Louis metropolitan area, because that's what's going to get you the most attraction.
Sure. So let's look at the organization that you all are building here. You get this thing up, whether it's first stage, second stage, final stage, or ongoing stage, who's going to be running this thing? Who's going to have the keys to the castle to this? Whose responsibility is it going to be to keep this thing moving forward? We talk about structure of the organization. Don't everybody volunteer to be that guy or girl to do that?
Well, we just, a couple of months ago, 2 or 3 months ago, we decided that we needed some sort of structure because the county was the responsible entity. And I can't say that we've taken all the responsibility off the county, but I stepped up as co-chair and so did Betty Beth. And we're just trying to really focus our efforts at this point because we've just kind of been, I equate it to an octopus. We've got feelers out everywhere and we're not really coming together, as a group. So I would say that each community has their own key to the castle. They're all copies of each other. We just all need to be invested in the process. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And where's New Haven?
They're here sometimes, here not.
Okay. So, I mean, everybody is New Haven. I was just the one that popped in my mind that wasn't in the room. I mean, Buford's not here either.
Right.
So, you're communicating, you're reaching out to all the other communities and sectors and everybody who's involved in the tourism industry in the county.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when Scotty is from the county is responsible for sending out emails, and everybody gets notices for the meetings, and everybody gets minutes from the meetings, and everyone's invited.
So you've got the keys to the castle. Very good. And is that the intention that it's, you're the management, government management, I'll say, of this effort? Okay.
We've been told
Ultimately, we don't want to check the keys.
We've been told by the county government it's temporary.
Okay.
Either we shape up or ship out, basically.
I see. Okay. And do you have a timeline?
Not really. Just hurry up and do it.
Okay. Very good. Well, this is a point you're going to have to consider, and it sounds like you've been considering it already. I mean, at some point, when you apply structure, somebody's going to be at the top of the food chain, with everybody else trying to eat up towards you. So, who's going to benefit by having this organized tourism campaign? Who is in this effort, this ongoing effort? Are our local taxpayers going to benefit? Are businesses going to benefit? Are governments going to benefit? Are visitors going to benefit? Each one of these are a different universe of people that we have to serve. And we can't just say, hey, look at all the good we're doing. to all of them, because they're not, some of, our visitors don't care. They just want to be informed and directed towards the fun and frivolity that they came here looking for. They don't care what the tax benefit is to Franklin County or to New Haven or to what, by their visit.
But if we had a unique festival, they would benefit.
Too much Parks and Recreation.
Well, I mean, we have, Scottish weekend or something, and it drew a lot of people to this area, and something that's not in this area currently, so they would have extra benefit from having it.
They would, yes, you're right about that, but they don't care about the tax. I'm saying, look at all the tax money we brought in here. That when I did
But
this thing.
everybody actually benefits,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
You just want to make us do this again?
Oh, yes.
Okay, all right.
Well, but I think that your message to the different groups that he has on the slide is completely different.
Right.
So your message is different, but everybody benefits.
Right.
Yes, everybody benefits. Yes, this is the
How
key
do you
word.
explain it?
But this benefit message to the visitor is not the same as it is to our local taxpayer, nor is it to our local businesses. So, so we'll have to formulate messages and justification statements, basically. We're going to have to report to all these people about what our activities are doing to benefit all these folks and the folks who aren't listed because they ran out of room. So any thoughts about, how each of these organizations or each of these segments will benefit from increased tourism activity?
Well, as Joey was saying, it's a trickle down effect, though, if the visitor, if we give the benefit, if we give the perceived benefit to the visitor and make them want to come here and they have a great time, well, the businesses get more business, which gives the taxpayers more money, and, or it gives the government more money from taxes, which gives the taxpayers more benefits.
Just makes sort of sad all through.
Yeah.
Looks like we got a new person that's holding a piece of desk.
As far as how it benefits the taxpayer, I'm gonna tell you a true story. This happened last night. You guys can think I'm making this up. Wait, tell me what brings people. I had a couple from Wisconsin that come and spent a week. They hauled their motorcycles down, and somebody gave them a map of good bike rides, and we were in the center of that. So they spent the week, every day they leave, go on a motorcycle ride, come back to the hotel. And every night they didn't stay in their room, they sit in the lobby all night. Like for 5-6 hours. And due to some unforeseen circumstances, I was working the desk last night. And
You're being paid.
so they're talking all night, they're talking about Wisconsin, this and that. I said, they live on the lake. So I said, you guys anywhere near Door County? It's like, oh yeah, no, we know where that's at. I said, you guys go there much? Like, oh no, it's just tourist trap up there. Nobody from Wisconsin goes there, it's full of tourists. So anyway, if you're me and you're a hotel, then yes, all this stuff is great. If you're Joe Blow that lives in the house down the street from my hotel, and there's a bunch of out-of-towners and their trash coming out the window and then traffic, you back up at the stoplight. I mean, I'm just saying that there's two sides to it.
Sure.
On the other hand, we've had some homes that were not in the best shape that people have cleaned up, made into bed and breakfast,
Sure.
that made the whole neighborhood better for the fact that they are someplace that people, draw tourists now, draw visitors, and, everybody's benefiting from the fact that these were improved to that extent.
That's what people are called, the residents rather than taxpayers.
They're always taxpayers to me. There are investors, there are taxpayer
That
investors.
was kind of stuff.
I know.
Some residents aren't.
As am I.
I know.
Right.
Very good.
So,
But
but the
I
thing
think there
is,
are benefits to the residents, not calling them taxpayers, that, even if you live here and you have these activities in the county, they benefit from those activities because they can drive 15 miles to somewhere in the county and have the same type of activity as if they went 3 hours away from the county.
Well, if you have no more visitors, you have more opportunity to have restaurants, which the residents hopefully would be able to enjoy if the residents go, or the visitors go away.
by the way, I'm a visitor here today. I grew up here. I'm a visitor here today, and I did spend money here in Washington because I realized halfway down my trip here today that I'd forgotten the other shirt that I was going to wear to talk to y'all. So the grubby sweater I was wearing to drive down here in So I stopped at Penny's to buy a new shirt. So you're welcome. This thing is starchy and probably has some creases in it. There might be a tag on the back of it. But anyway, each of these audiences and the ones who aren't listed are going to be asking the question, what's in it for me? If y'all start doing all these bigger things, all these more visible things that look like they cost a lot of money, when whether they do or don't, we haven't determined yet. But you start putting up all these fancy billboards and all these mailers and the newspaper ads, TV ads during the Cardinals game. These taxpayers are going, well, who the hell's paying for that? And this visitor's going to be like, hey, that sounds pretty good to me. But that same message over here, the guy in Union at Haggis, yeah. I had hoagies in my head and I couldn't get past it. But Steve's place, he is sitting there watching the ballgame going, how am I paying for that?
You can't ever make Steve.
I know. That's why I used him as an example. So, as we move forward in all this, what's in it for me, for each universe of folks that we're talking about? How will it get paid for? Okay, at some point, the rubber's going to meet the road, and all these grand ideas that we're talking about, or that you talked about prior to this, or after I leave, or whatever, everything that's on Jason's Excel sheet here, every one of those probably got a dollar column on it, right? I don't even know what it is.
That's my sheet,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
they all have a dollar.
Yeah, they all have a dollar column. So, I don't know how you're structured now, or if you're charging dues, or doing whatever, or maybe there's tourism tax down the road. At some point, you're going to need a funding source. So you've got to be thinking, what's that going to be? And who's going to pay it? So, what we see, Merrimack River, it's supposed to be anyway, that's what Google told me it was. Could be any river with an inner tube in it, I guess. So what we see, before I get into this stuff, what we're talking about, any questions about what we covered real quickly? I just wanted to create some discussion and get some feedback from you all and get you thinking and get some ideas out there, at least on video, that you can help take you to the next steps. Any thoughts, follow-up questions, final thoughts on that segment? Anything that sounds like malarkey?
I don't know that it's malarkey, but I think everybody sitting here is also in one of those four groups.
Definitely.
So it's
Yeah,
not,
you're
it's
not
not
just
an
in
us, it's not an us and them thing.
Yeah, it's, and I should have said this when I was talking about it, nobody's stuck in one silo. I mean, it's the thing I preach all the time, is knock down the silos and such. But, as a taxpayer, I'm also a visitor, I'm also whatever, I'm also a business, I need to hear different messages to different questions that I've got. So, yeah, you're right.
And I can bring this down to our local level, this can help me with my individual store and how to run it better.
Okay.
What about competition between the different communities within the county?
You're exactly right. And well, that rubber meets the road is going to also cause some friction between you all. And when we talk about the structure, if you start doing, say like a standard Chamber of Commerce kind of type of membership, where you say, okay, everybody pays a flat fee plus a certain percent for how many people you got, or how many hotel beds you got, or whatever demographic you want to put on, the statistic you want to put on it. Well, I think we all probably know who's going to come out on top every time, right? I'm pointing to you, Mary Beth. I mean,
We don't have the most beds.
you don't have the most beds? Who's got the
I
most?
don't.
Well,
You got the most beds?
I say that because I like to, but I know we have most beds per capita.
Okay.
The Pacific Eagles has the biggest convention hall in Franklin County, I heard.
Oh, really? Is it anybody?
I don't know, I think
Okay. So at some point, if you start putting it that way, where Washington's going to come out on the top, I'm not picking on you, but it's the fact. You're going to come out on top, and it's also going to cost you more. Well, should they get the larger share of the co-op marketing? Should they get, what's Sullivan going to get? What's Union going to get? You're going to have to. There's only so much pie. It's going to have to be divided up in favorable ways.
So my one other question
And
is,
I'm sorry to interrupt, but we mentioned Farina a couple times. Well, that's Gray Summit. Well, that's unincorporated Franklin County. What we can do about that, Scotty, that's up to you.
Just
And you really need
So the other question that I have is, you know, we had the guy from Door County come down here, and his main message was, in order to create a tourism presence, you're gonna have to have a bed tax. What are,
Countywide.
right, what other alternatives are there? You mentioned the membership organization type, but even the guy from Door County said they have a membership organization, but they make way more money off their bed tax.
Yeah, the tax is gonna be the biggest source of income, but, you know, there's, besides membership, I'm trying to think of what other, you can go, once you get structured, and you're a C4, C3, whatever that structure would be, a government entity, there's grants that you can maybe get. Privately funded, et cetera, et cetera. There's all sorts of different ways you can do it before you get to that level, because I don't think that you're ready for that level. I don't think you get a tourism tax, for one, because you haven't justified your existence. There hasn't been a proving of what your efforts are here yet as a giant whole.
Right.
Okay? Especially in this anti-tax climate that's out there right now. So I'd say start small, start as a membership thing, figure out how you're going to assess dues or recruit investment or get grant money and build up and prove yourself, and then say, look what we've done with the 50 grand we got or the 100 grand we got. Imagine what we could do with 700,000 or whatever bed tax would generate. Mr. Commissioner?
tax.
Huh?
Tax.
Time.
You know, one thing I'm talking about for you is having, you know, each community has a chamber, they have a countywide umbrella of a chamber. You know, and then the chambers and the heavies would find a venue to fund an umbrella that's actually doing the general tourism for everybody.
As the planning commissioner, you the economic development authority for the county as a whole.
Where's that at as well, yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I would say that, you know, I see a lot of this
Scotty is
conversation.
really happy with
At
this
this
job.
early stage, I still see a lot of the keys being maintained in your drawer. So, no pressure. So what we see, what kind of brand can you develop? What have you got to differentiate yourself from the Science Center, and the Cardinals, and the Magic House, and everything that's going on around our region, and all of our competitors, Six Flags? What have you got that's going to raise above the white noise in any kind of message you put out there? And just an idea that came to me was a celebrity-focused thing. This is my surrogate cousin, Jack Wagner, on the side. After this is over, when the camera's done, I'll tell you a story. It's a good one. But Jack is from here. I don't know how much he comes back. I mean, he's in the state every now and then. He's holding his golf tournament in Columbia these days. That's what I've been told. Does anybody know how much he comes back or what connection he still has here? I just drove by the family place. It looked like it's going to turn into a subdivision.
Didn't even know he was from here.
Oh, yeah?
You did?
Do you know who he is?
Yeah, he visited my last year, 2 years ago.
Yeah, he was a soap opera star, and he was the male lead on Melrose Place for about 6 or 7 years.
He's from Washington.
He is the world's greatest celebrity pro-am golfer as well. And I saw Jack, my surrogate cousin Jack here, as a way to tout our outdoor activities, where Jack's playing all the different golf courses in this message. And it's got a message, I'll just give it to you. It's, the theme we're looking at here is it's just a drive away. And Jack or Jesse James,
Your cousin?
Jesse James, who ate or slept pretty much everywhere in this county, mostly in Merrimack Caverns, right?
Have you guys capitalized on that?
Have you ever thought about that?
Do we need to help you out with that?
Do a museum or something.
Or even if
Crack me up.
we got a furry mascot named Franklin, who sat there at the tee box at Wolf Hollow and drove off, and it landed on a boat in the Missouri River. And then boom, he tees off and he's at a winery in New Haven. And boom, he's in Merrimack Caverns putting down the dark cavern.
I'll
Whoever,
go
one of
for
these
that.
guys,
I'll go for that if JT's in the suit.
whoever this is, whoever a celebrity thing, something like that would like raise above it during the Cardinals game. You'd stop and be like, why is Jesse James putting? I wonder what Jesse James handicap is. I want to know what this is all about. Holy cow, Franklin County is a little bit different than I thought they were. I want to go out and check that out. So it's just something, a message we crafted in our brainstorming session, just to put an idea in your heads of a direction you could go to. You talk about the branding, you talk about the thing, this is the thing, this is your brand. I'm not saying you have to buy it right now, but this is a direction, a campaign that you got to go out there to. Because putting, and I'm not picking on you when I do this, okay, but putting the ads or the pictures or whatever in magazines like this, or the other things that get put into the Missouri Life magazine or whatever, look at Missouri Life, everything looks the same. Every winery ad looks the same, every tourism spot looks the same, even the ads for the Arch look like the ads for the Magic House, look like the ads for Six Flags. It's kids having fun or their hair sticking up, okay? Whether they're coming downhill on a roller coaster or they're touching the electric ball at the Magic House, their hair's sticking up. So do something to differentiate yourself from your competition and make you seem cool, fun, and a place that people want to come with their families or themselves and come and spend money and stay overnight and spend some more money the next day.
Well, I think it was Jason about 2 or 3 years ago, he came up with this tagline, trailhead to adventure. Was it you? I still think it's a great tagline.
I thought that was you.
It wasn't me. I thought, I wasn't me. I'll take credit for it if it was. It was somebody. I thought it was you. Sorry.
I like that. It's not bad. Let's back this up to a bigger picture. What is the Gateway Arch a monument to?
Gateway to the west.
What does that mean?
Western expansion towards the western
It is the world or the country's tallest statue to leaving town. Think about it. It's a monument to everybody who left. What are we trying to do with this tourism project? Bring them in. So what we see,
They're coming here. You know,
they're coming through. Right. They're coming through. So now every time, I hope the rest of your lives, you look at the arch and go, it's the world's biggest statue. Getting the heck out of here.
So who's in on this brainstorming session when you come up with this?
This was myself and my writer, Melissa, and my videographer, Jen.
Who's creative? Who's a good idea?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Now, on
And it's
the
all
same
free.
line,
Yeah, it was all free. Now,
if you had,
what's it going to take to get you into a mascot costume
Just how many
today?
monthly installments?
I'm sorry.
that's all right. If you used a trailhead to adventure and you had that bear, or
Right.
Jesse James canoeing and so on, going to a winery in Washington, you can still, that's to me, it's adventure. Taking a shot at
Sure.
Reserve,
Sure.
Green Farms, that's adventure.
Sure.
But you have that bear or
Huh?
the trailhead Jesse James.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, you got to do something unique. So you put the mascot, whatever it is, whichever of these three or who's never seen that picture.
Or you have Jeff Wagner playing golf with concept.
You could do, or the big reveal, he takes off his helmet and it's Jack Wagner in it.
But if our customers are 30 and below, how many of those people know who the hell Jack Wagner is?
Or Jesse James.
But everyone will know, everyone will know.
Again,
Everyone will know celebrity.
yeah, we need to create a new celebrity.
Everyone will run screaming.
Hey,
So-
I check out the police report. But, you know, go ahead, I'm sorry.
So moving along, again, your brand, your message is about getting them here, not getting them elsewhere. Today and soon. All right, so I'm sure you're aware there's a Franklin County Tourism website out there under this bigmuddynet.net. Is that somebody in this room?
She used to be.
All right, okay.
She now lives in Florida.
All right.
Not Franklin County.
Yeah, she
Florida.
went to Gateway down south.
She was inspired by the arch. All right, the first thing you all need to do, and this is going to cost you $10. You can go to somebody's phone right now. JT, you've got a GoDaddy app, I'm sure. Get your own ding-dang domain and get that website for right now, at least pointed there, or something that says, welcome to Franklin County. It's probably not linked to a bunch of city government websites. That's the first thing to do. Second step, a beginning website. Who, what, where, events, directories, and more. Basic information, basic internet. This is not going to be deep, highly interactive thing. It's to get you there, establish a presence. It's a driving point for people to get contact information and see a limited amount, your A-list attractions, if you will. A social media plan. I see there's a Facebook page out there. Who's running that? Oh, okay. I'm picking on your office, but it's a community calendar. That's not a tourism Facebook page. People coming, nobody's going to come from Bethalto to come see the performance at East Central College. That kind of stuff. So you want to generate more of the tourism-related content in your social media. Content creation. We need words and pictures from each of our communities, each of our tourism partners, whatever we can do to utilize, promote that message out to the audiences that we're going to build. Email list building, the website, the social media, the newspaper ads, whatever, everything is driving people to a point, and that point of contact is that email. We want to capture their email and as much information as they're willing to volunteer about themselves, so we can build a profile of who our target customer is that wants to come here and spend the night in Franklin County, no matter which of our communities, okay? Is it a 65-year-old retiree and his wife? Is it a 30-year-old single female? Okay, who is our target customer? We're going to just get that email contact. We're going to get the volunteers to submit their demographic information if they will, and then once we get their email, blast them with the event newsletters or the coming attractions. The fairs go. It's fair season. Everywhere you look, there's a fair in Franklin County. First one to come out here gets a free market hub. Okay. The email list is gold. This is your gold. This is always your goal. Limited and targeted online advertising. We can target websites, whether it's what's a popular ladies' website? I'm going blank. Like you and your peers would visit. I know.
The only websites I go to would be Facebook, Pinterest,
Your daddy.
women's website.
I'm thinking like one of the shopping websites. Anywhere we can put online advertising, we can target these online ads to these folks. They come to the website, we get a solid cookie, just like when you visit the Sears website. For the next hour or 2 hours you're online, you see Sears ads everywhere. We can do the same thing for Franklin County.
What about a YouTube channel?
That's the last bullet point. Thank you. Thank you. Videos. Making introductory or testimonial videos here in this early stage of happy customers, happy visitors, people who came to Franklin County on a visit for whatever reason. My God, I love that I stayed here. I've been here 50 years and my family comes back here now and I fill up all the beds in Sullivan. Okay? The introductory video we talked about with Jack Wagner driving golf balls on a boat, whatever. Some sort of video content that could be easily shared by our visitors and our supporters to all our universes. The goal with online marketing is always to reach the audience of audiences of audiences, to create a ripple effect. That's how things go viral. And viral just happens. It's not something you can engineer. You can never engineer viral. Videos. Diseases, that's a different thing. Right now, if you Google Franklin County tourism, and I have no way of knowing how many people are actually doing this, but this is the #1 tourism. You got Wikipedia 1, the county website #2, and then the Civil War website from, I guess this is still going on right now, Sesquicentennial. But this is the big push last year, and it's linked to the Big Muddy website, which then goes to this, which is all the city government websites. That goes to the county commission, or to the county government website, etc. I mean, yeah, this looks nice here up top, but it's not selling Franklin County. Nothing about this makes me want to drive from Bethalto to Franklin County when I could just go to.
Who would live in Bethalto to do it?
I don't know. It just jumped in my head. If you're living in Bethalto, you're looking for reasons to get the heck out of Bethalto for the weekend.
Do they have an arch?
They have an arch, yeah. On the east side, it's a sign that says "Keep out." So that's where we were. That's what we're looking at, like right now. Things, action steps you can take right now. Any questions about that? Anybody disagree with anything I've said? You're not gonna hurt my feelings.
I was just gonna say, we have discussed, branding and different things, and when we talk about a website, which I don't disagree, I mean, I have several domain names that I bought just to sit on for the future or whatever, but we could buy several domain names before we even settle on an actual theme or, motto or anything else. It's just until we get a name or a brand or an image or a logo or a motto,
Right.
the domain name can change.
Sure.
So I'm just saying we need to
Sure.
kind of fix
I
it.
mean, your domain name's gonna end up being something, visit Franklin County, go Franklin County, do something, action Franklin County, or Franklin Mo, or whatever's, whatever's shorter and available and makes sense. So, yeah, because I'm sure just driveaway.com is gone. I'm sure trailhead to adventure.com.
That's just kind of long, but then you,
Right.
if you made that, so I typed it in, you'd want it to go to the domain name and
Right.
jump to the shorter.
Right, definitely. Anything I missed besides what JT said? That you guys have talked about before that you've been wanting to say to the crowd? Okay. So, looking at up to a year from now, we're looking at a more robust web experience. And the biggest Franklin County in the country is Columbus, Ohio, which, if you didn't know, is actually the biggest city in Ohio. Trivia. This is the Experience Columbus website. Obviously, this is very, very robust. This is doing. But this is a direction we were probably looking about 50% of the functions of this. But you've got travel tools, you've got itinerary bookings, you can book your hotel or book your packages, you can book events, get all the concerts and performance and fair tickets and whatever, run them through this as well. Discover, you've got an interactive calendar here telling you what's going on here versus just a text list of railroad days in the Pacific. Okay, you're telling stories here. This is going to be a very powerful communications tool. If you want to play in tourism in the St. Louis metropolitan area, being this close, this is something you're going to need to have. Okay, all your competition has something like this. If you were Rolla Tourism Commission, you don't necessarily have as much competition nearby. So you could get away with a smaller effort. But if you want to compete in the tourism field in this area, this geographic area, against your competition, you're going to need a robust web experience. Any questions about that? So other things we're looking at here for building up to 1 year is a full search engine implementation, search engine optimization implementation, so that every time you look for Korean Farms or Six Flags or whatever, you're going to get Franklin County pop up. You're going to